This is our class number 4 on chapter number 1. Class number 4 of the Mandukya Upanishad, and we are dealing with chapter number 1. Just to remind us the 4 points, the Upanishad tries to give us clarification or realization of at least 4 things. They are: number 1, who we really are; number 2, what value this relative world has in relation to our own existence; number 3, what our duties, dharma, and rights, adhikara, would be in this world; and number 4, what way we will be able to realize our own self or the purpose of our life. Then we talked about the 2 ways the Upanishad tries to convince us. The first 7 mantras of the Upanishad does the analysis about the 3 states of our being: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. And the last 5 mantras analyze the word Om. It is a meditation on the word Om. And then the Upanishad shows the relation between this Atman, or analysis of ourself, and Omkara, or analysis of Om. Then we have already seen that ourself, or we, are the knower of the knower. Our knowledge, the knowledge of the self, is the knowledge of the ego. So that knowledge stands behind our empirical knowledge, giving validity to all empirical knowledge. So we gave the example of that sentence, that I know you, or I know an apple. That sentence can be also valid when I say I know that I don't know an apple. So both positive knowledge of the second I or ego, or negative knowledge of the ego, will be validated. But if I say I don't know that I know an apple, I don't know that I don't know an apple, that means if I make the first sentence, principal clause, negative, then the right side knowledge becomes invalid, completely invalid. So this we have seen. Then we have seen that Mandukya says that we are the experiencer of the different states. Dreaming, waking, deep sleep, all these states are our experiences, and these states are not true. They are not true, they are all unreal. And then the Upanishad introduced 4 facets of our being. We have 4 dresses, as it were, Vesham. So 4 facets of our being. Then we looked at the substance behind this name and form. Mandukya says that the name and form, they are neither a substance nor a property of, suppose, gold. The ornaments, different ornaments, they are neither a substance nor a property of the gold. Then what is the relation between these names and forms and gold? And the Mandukya will explain that and will say that the relation is the relation of an error. a mistake, a superimposition. Mistaking a thing for something else. This is in Sanskrit called adhyasa, superimposition. So we were discussing these points up till now. Now I will try to give you a summary of the last 5 mantras of the Upanishad that also occur in this first chapter. And in these 5 mantras, the Upanishad connects the analysis of Atman with the analysis of Om. The word Om is divided into 4 matras or components. A, U, plus silence. According to Sanskrit grammar, A plus U, when they are joined, that makes a O. So A plus U equal to O, and then M. So Om. The Upanishad connects these 4 components of Om with 4 facets of Atman. They are called the Padas. Chatuspat Brahman, Atman means 4 Padas, 4 facets, and here 4 components. 4 components of Om is now connected with 4 facets of Atman. Then when we explain mantra number 7 in this Upanishad, you will see further discussion on this. I will try to skip that portion because we need more time today to clarify something which is very difficult to understand. When we utter Om, what happens? Our lips close. Then it is silence. So what is that? That is the witness consciousness in its pure form. When there is silence, what is there? When there is silence, what is there? There is the experience of blankness or non-existence. Nothing is there. The sound has stopped. But the Upanishad says, no, you are there. The illuminator of the blankness, who was the experiencer, that illuminator is there. So, you cannot experience non-existence. You cannot experience absence. Absence of sound means there is no sound. So if you can experience absence of sound, that is really illogical. We have to spend some time with this tricky and lingering confusion in understanding the non-dual Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. It seems very easy to say that, I experienced nothing. I experienced absence of sound. Om stopped. So I experienced nothing. This sentence you have to remember. I experienced nothing means I experienced absence of something. Absence of Om, that sound. This is a very, very tricky confusion. The Vaisheshika philosophy and also the Nyaya philosophy are 2 of the main 6 systems of Indian philosophy. They count this absence called abhava as a substance or padartha. Abhava, absence, is a thing to be counted. according to that philosophy. This is a very tricky point that has been dealt with by non-dual Vedanta in a masterly fashion. Let us look at the problem logically. If I ask, absence of what? When we say that, oh, when I pronounced Om, closed the lips, then there was nothing, no sound, absence of sound. So what did I experience now? Absence of sound. So absence of what? Absence of sound. Now let us take up another example. Suppose the answer I give is absence of red rose. There was a red rose here, but that red rose is not there now. Suppose I am in Frankfurt. That red rose was here yesterday, but not there anymore now. Okay, the rose is not here, then it must be somewhere else. Suppose it is now in Berlin. Then following this idea of absence as a substance, as a thing to be counted, absence is a thing to be counted. I have to say that I have to count the one and the same rose as two. Two. Like the red rose in Berlin is one, and the same Berlin rose is present in Frankfurt by its absence. Rose is no more there in Frankfurt, but it is still there. It is present by its absence because you feel its absence there. So what happens? I have two roses. This defies logic. This defies practical sense. Suppose in my dream I have seen that in my account with Zombie Bank, I have 1 million euro credit. After waking up, do I check with the bank to see if my bank account has increased by 1 million euro by its absence? It is therefore the existence and not the blankness or absence that is experienced. And it is because of our constant mental association with the relative world that we wrongly say that the blankness or absence is experienced. We miss. We say that I will miss you. We miss because we are so much connected. That is why when we sit in meditation or even try to concentrate the mind on one thing, we see that the mind wanders about. It happens because we have the lasting impression of so many events for the whole day on our mind, which does not make it easy for us to just sit and see that the mind is instantly withdrawn. It is instantly withdrawn from the impressions. Not possible. Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Rasavarjam. One may give up one's attachment of or association with external objects. But the thought of those objects lingers in the mind. It is not easy to erase those thoughts. Similarly, it is easy to say or show that I forgive you, but it is not easy to forget. The faster we are able to forget unpleasant experiences, easier and quicker become our spiritual progress. We have heard, to err is human, but to forgive divine. I think it is not a very practical statement. Expressing divine quality is not easy unless we really experience divinity. We may rather say to err is human, but to forgive and forget is divine. Otherwise, it is a show of forgiveness. I show forgiveness outside, but that thought burns me inside that I could not take revenge. So ordinary we are. Even in practical life, such lingering discontent makes our own life cumbersome and stagnant. If one has to do things in life, one needs to work on things and then leave them behind one after another. They say tsuk tsuk and move on. Finish one work and then take up another. Else there is no advancement. There is only stagnation. You cannot climb up the stairs carrying all the pieces of the load tagged to you. The Upanishad says, forget it and tap on the silence. Silence is not the absence of the sounds a, u, It means the positive, pure, and existent consciousness associated with no name and form. Let us look at the problem from our experience point of view, that is practical point of view. Let me give an example. Actually, this example has been used in a general way by Shankaracharya in the introduction to Mandukya Upanishad mantra number 1. I am presenting this here to make the continuing explanation clear. Actually, it is part of the introduction to the first mantra, which I will take up later. But this has validity here, more appropriate. Shankara says, Rogartasya eva roga nivrittau swasthata. Just as the normal state of a man afflicted by disease consists in his or her getting cured of the disease, similarly the normalcy of the self stricken with identification with misery is regained through the cessation of the phenomenal universe of duality. This is what Shankara has written. Now let me give an example, very commonplace, and let me see if I can make this thing clear to you. Because this Upanishad, or all other Upanishads for that matter, use our own experiences, practical, daily, day-to-day experiences, and analyze them. Suppose I have injured my finger. There is pain. I apply some pain reliever spray. The pain is gone. What am I experiencing now about the incident? I may say I am experiencing the absence of pain, or I am enjoying the state of non-existence of the pain. That's what we generally say. Now the question is, do you really experience the pain when it is gone? In the absence, do you really experience that pain? If you say yes, then the pain is there. It is not gone. So, you say, no, I experience that the pain is not there. This is what is the case in point. Well, look at your own experience very closely. This is what is called analysis. The finger was healthy without pain. It got affected by pain. The pain is gone. Then what is there? If the pain is all that matters, then when it is gone, there should be nothing that matters. If the pain is all that matters to you, then when that pain is gone, there would be nothing that matters. There will be nothing that matters. Should there be nothing that matters? Oh me. It is a ridiculous proposition. It is just like throwing the baby with bath water. Then what is there? Your finger is there. Your finger is there. You are experiencing the original healthy finger again, which is always there, by the way. And at the same time, you are enjoying not non-existence of pain, but health of your finger, which was disturbed for some time. The satisfaction belongs to the finger, not to the non-existence of pain. Had it belonged to the pain, then we would have enjoyed when we were having pain. Satisfaction belonged to the pain, then we would have enjoyed pain. This is the way one has to learn to discover the experiencer, not the things that are experienced. This is the analysis that will help us to discover Entdecken. The Deckung has to be removed. The covering has to be removed. The changeful sense objects are there. They will be there. But their experiences should help us to discover the experiencer. A non-existing thing does not have a quality called satisfaction. Otherwise, it will be like saying, let us look at the blueness of a non-existing flower. Blueness of a non-existing flower. Vedanta does not have illness insurance or Krankenkasse, but it has a health insurance. Health of the finger. You know, there was a wonderful Greek philosopher during the time of Plato. He was known as Diogenes. He used to teach his students that this world is unreal. Once he broke his finger and was in great pain. The disciples asked him a teasing question. Sir, at this moment of your pain, can you still say that this world is unreal? What is said in reply is a jewel from the mine of the Upanishads. He answered, yes. Still I say that it is unreal, but painfully unreal. Our unreal states, my dear friends, are in the same way painfully unreal. Know it and be free, that is the whole of this Upanishad's teachings. The idea is not to deny the relative existence of the universe, the value of this relative existence. We don't deny that. The Upanishad does not deny that. Swami Vivekananda calls it a gymnasium. where we come to build up our biceps, our muscles. The same Diogenes used to beg. And what he used to do, very peculiar thing. That could be a very nice out of the box thinking. Diogenes used to stand and beg before a statue. Someone asked him, "Why do you beg before a statue?" Diogenes answered, "I do it because it gives me the practice of being refused. It gives me the practice of being refused." Don't we have experiences of being refused? Have we learned from it? Don't we have lingering experiences of this world being changeful? Did we learn anything from it? It seems somewhat pessimistic. But let me tell you, the Vedanta is asking us something else. It asks, don't we have the precious experience that all whom and which we call our own refuse to go with us into the grave? Vedanta transforms this pessimism into the optimistic question. Do our own experiences lead us to go in search of something which is changeless? All these experiences in the world, what are they teaching us? That these are all changeful, these are all unreal, and they will never go with you to the grave. So go in search of the changeless. Standing before the image of Mother Kali, Sri Ramakrishna used to complain, "Mother, are you really a stone image? Are you not conscious? Then why don't you answer my prayers?" Needless to say that it is because of this very important and innocent positive approach in the beginning that he realized the unbroken field of consciousness as the Divine Mother, which lay behind, hidden in the stone image. Now let me narrate an unpleasant practical situation. It is said that in a model, negative data is more important than positive data because negative data highlight positive data. That is the complaint against positive thinking. It does not give the valued place negative thinking rightfully deserves. Swami Vivekananda has said, pleasure and pains are our great teachers. We learn from both, but sometimes pain teaches us more than pleasure. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, bad people are there in the society so that you value good people. Let me narrate an unpleasant situation. Suppose at an underground station, you see a handsome person, man, woman, does not matter. Your eyes are glued to that figure. You forget time and place, where you are standing, what is the situation around you, forget that. And suddenly that figure moves away, and fortunately it does so. Then you discover yourself and look around. So many people are relishing your predicament. You blush in embarrassment. To whom does this embarrassment belong? To that handsome figure that moved away, or to you? The Upanishads analyze our own daily practical experiences, both positive and negative, which they call errors, Brahma. Error means a mixing up of both real and unreal. That is why it is called an analysis of error, or in technical philosophical term, it is known as Khyati-vada. The second chapter of this Upanishad is called Vaitathya Prakaranam, or an analysis of error. The relative is not the reality. It is relatively real because it is time bound. It moves away, giving us a chance to learn from refusals. The relative moves away, and it gives us a chance to learn from refusals. No one is going to accompany us. Diogenes used to beg before the statue to learn from being refused. That is why the Upanishad has brought up the discussion on the fourth into the picture. That is the timeless illuminator of the blankness or absence. That is what we really experience. It is the finger that we experience, not the non-existence of pain. A non-existent thing cannot be experienced. Contemplate or meditate on this in and through all your pleasant and unpleasant experiences. And this illuminator is I. Silence means I, the pure consciousness, not mistaken with name, form, and utility. Then we arrive at silence. Silence is consciousness, and consciousness is silence. And this is you, the reader of the Upanishad. This is called four-faceted Omkara Vichara, analysis of the four-faceted Omkara. Chatuspad Atma Vichara is equated with Chaturmatra Omkara Vichara. How do they do it? They analyze the thing, and analyzing the primary meaning and discovering the implied or real meaning. In this process, we retain one portion or amsa or bhaga of the primary meaning and discard the other portion. What we commonly experience as an individual is a mixture of real and unreal. The real part is Atman and the unreal part is Anatman. Similarly, Om as sound is unreal and as silence is real. Now leave out the unreal parts of both, of Atman and Om, of individual and Om. What remains in both Jiva and Om are Atman and silence. These are real. This real in both is identical. So Atman is silence. Silence is Atman. This is what is called prapanchopashamam, prapancha upasamam. That means reducing the ever-expanding universe into relative experience. Actually, you are the subject. So you cannot objectify yourself as an object like a rose and then experience yourself. If you can, then, and if you like to do, then it is an error. Satisfaction or bliss cannot be objectified because it is your real nature. The real nature of the subject, subject, with capital S, subject. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad asks, "O my dear, by whom the knower can be known? Vijñātāram are kena vijaniyat." If the knower Mr. X is known by Mr. Y, then Mr. Y becomes the knower and Mr. X becomes the object knower. The subject cannot know itself because it does not need to. I don't need to prove that I exist. I am aware that I am the subject, and that's all. This far is the summary of the mantras of the Mandukya Upanishad, which occur in the first chapter. This is also a part of the introduction to the first mantra. Now I will go into a bit detail of this Upanishad. The first chapter is called Agama Prakaran. So I will now have the rest portion of the introduction to the first mantra. It is still introduction that is going on. What is the essence of the Upanishadic teaching? Brahman, or the conscious reality called Satchit Ananda, existence, knowledge and bliss absolute. The reality is non-dual, that is, it does not say that all are Brahman, but it says that there is nothing but Brahman, non-dual. The question, then why do we see the differences? Well, there are three types of differences. We have said that a difference between two members of the same species, a black cow is different from a white cow, but they are cow. Then second difference is a difference between the members of two or many different species. A cow, whether black or white, is different from a horse or a camel or a kangaroo. And the third difference is a difference within the same person or thing. Like my hands are different from my legs, my eyes are different from my ears. But I am a single man with all these differences in me. So they in Sanskrit call the first one Sajatiya Bheda, the difference in the same species. Vijatiya Bheda, difference in different species. And Swagata Bheda, the difference within one's own self, within the same thing. Now we come to another revelation. We have so far analyzed our own experiences of ourselves as the jiva or an individual. We have been able to peep into the real nature of our own self that is devoid of all the adjuncts or additions or layers. Now we will look at the whole of which we are surely an integral part. Integral part means When you think of the whole, you cannot exclude yourself. The thinker cannot exclude himself or herself. Or let me make it clearer. This is just an example in order to make the understanding easy. Suppose I am in the house and I say that I am an integral part of the house. Then the house and I are one. Then if you want to demolish the house, you will demolish me together with the house. If you want to sell the house, you will sell me together with the house. This is what is called the integral part. Brahman is that reality which has me as an integral part of it. So I cannot stand aside and disprove or demolish Brahman. I cannot stand aside and disprove and demolish Brahman. We are now going to look at the creation or universe which includes us. That is the point that this Upanishad wants to discover. The Upanishad says that Brahman is non-dual but is erroneously appears as the world. What we see as the creation or the universe is nothing but Brahman, which is mistaken as the creation. Like the rope is mistaken as the snake. The rope is there, but the snake is not there. The rope is mistaken for the snake. When we remove this mistake or error, then we see that it is a rope only. Similarly, when we delve into the creation, we see nothing but Brahman. Brahman and the world are two different names given to one and the same reality. The person with non-dual experience sees the world as Brahman, and the ignorant sees Brahman as the world. Now we face another question. If due to our ignorance, Brahman is misinterpreted as the world, how long will this world continue? The obvious answer is, as long as our misunderstanding continues, the world with its experiences will be happy to go on. When we discover the real behind the appearance, the relative world cannot continue as it was for us. It will of course continue for others who think that this world is real. On the other hand, the reality called Brahman will endure whether I have realized it or not. You can experience rope without the mistaken snake, but you cannot experience the false snake without its support, the rope. It brings us to another question. When we experience the false snake, or suppose here we are comparing it with the world, do we experience the reality along with it or not? This is a really tricky question, a trap. Well, look at the question again. When we are experiencing or seeing the false snake or the world, do we experience the reality along with it or not? This is the trap. If you say yes, the rope is also experienced, then you are caught. The fallacy is that when you experience the rope, then you cannot mistake it for a snake. Number two, okay, you say being trapped by logic, you say, no, the rope is not experienced. Then the question will be, without the support of something real, how can there be a false snake? You are caught in the puzzle. You can say neither yes nor no. Then how does the error take place? We will have to analyze this. This is called research. Vedanta does not ask us to believe, but to question and be convinced. Vedanta calls it Khyativada, the analysis of error, as I said. It removes our dogmatism. The answer may be developed this way. Suppose we say, yes, the support or substratum is partially experienced or vaguely experienced, which is true. Then this partial knowledge is a dangerous thing because it is the cause of our suffering. A little learning is a dangerous thing always. We have partial or vague knowledge of Brahman, but not the complete knowledge. A vague knowledge means a general knowledge. Let us analyze the fact of mistaking a rope for a snake. We will prove this from our own experience. In broad daylight, we have complete knowledge that it is a rope. Similarly, in complete darkness or ignorance, we will neither see the rope nor the snake. So there is no scope for our mistaking a rope for a snake. In broad daylight and in pitch darkness. The mistake happens in half light and half darkness. We perceive the substratum vaguely. Then we say there is a snake. There is this part of the sentence speaks of the substratum, and a snake speaks of the error. In this error of yours, you are experiencing two things: a vague knowledge of the rope and the false snake. Please always remember that in this example, rope means Brahman. It is not really Brahman, but it represents Brahman, and snake represents this world. If the snake is an error, and it is a fact that we are experiencing an unreal thing, because we are experiencing snake. So an unreal thing is being experienced. We cannot accept this. We said a non-existent thing can never be experienced. Actually, what we are experiencing is both real and unreal in the same fact. They are mixed up together. So the conclusion will be, in every error, we experience real and unreal together. Now the deduction can be drawn in this way. We can never experience the unreal alone. This is one. The unreal cannot stay alone. We can also never say that the real, either vaguely or clearly, is always there with the unreal. That we cannot say, or not always there. This we say because the real can exist independent of the unreal. The gold can exist even if there are no ornaments, no name and form. Now we have discovered and validated two possibilities. The real alone one side, and there can be a mixture of both real and unreal another side. Now we come to the point which we wanted to prove by the analysis of this error. We have arrived at these three maxims, and we have three formulas to work with. The three formulas or maxims are like this. Number one, we can never experience the unreal alone. Number two, the real stands alone. Number three, there can be a mixture of both real and unreal. There can be. So these three things. There is no stand alone unreal. There is a real which can stand alone. And there can be a mixture of both. Can be. So what follows from our earlier discussion is that when I say that the world is an error, as said in the Upanishadic sentence, Brahman is real and the creation is unreal, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, I know from the three formulas that it is not possible to experience the unreal or the world alone. I know I am taxing your attention, but we are about to see the end of the tunnel. Just allow me 5 minutes and I will finish it. So what we are saying, I repeat, it is not possible to experience the world or Jagat alone as unreal. Actually, we are experiencing the world with Brahman. That is the mixture in the third maxim. The world cannot be a standalone unreality. It is a mixture of real and unreal. Our only problem is that the real is vaguely known or can be inferred. With every experience in the world, we are experiencing Brahman also. Sri Ramakrishna cites a commonplace example for the inference. He says, Mom is cooking different kinds of vegetables in one pot. One child observing it says, see there, a potato has jumped up, a tomato has jumped up, and so on. Actually speaking, the potato or the tomato has no power to move about in water. Neither does the water or the pot has. So the inference is that the heat in the hot plate, which is not visible, is the cause of these movements in the vegetables. The Kena Upanishad, that is why it says, Pratibodha viditam matam. With every bit of your earthly or worldly cognition or knowing or knowledge of things, the existence of the conscious pure principle behind is inferred, is accepted. In fact, when we say there is a snake, what do we really mean? We confirm that the very existence of the snake belongs to what? To the rope. In fact, it is only the rope that is there in front of us. That is there in front. The snake is not there. The rope is so intimately hidden that the existence of the substratum or the rope is appearing in and through the unreal snake and lending reality to the unreal. We are experiencing both of them. Inducing this logic, we may say that the whole creation is a mixture of Brahman and Maya, or relative existence, which we have to discover. Mandukya has done it. If we have to sort this out in the whole creation, we cannot humanly do it. Therefore, the Mandukya is going to use two simpler methods as prescribed in mantra number 1 and 2. Mantra number 1 gives Omkara Vichara, mantra number 2 gives Atma Vichara. By these two methods, the whole cosmos is sorted out as a mixture of real and unreal. Thank you very much. I will stop here, and next time we will take up the first mantra. So up to this we finished our introduction. Thank you once again. Namaste.